this is what we got. We're doing the Vatican, so we're going to read this historychannel.com article about the secrets of the Vatican archives. But then we're also going to hop in and we're going to take a look at this article regarding the Chronovisor, because honest to God, I think the Chronovisor is one of the coolest things by far. That's like a conspiracy-esque story that's come out of the Vatican archives. So we shall take a look into both these articles and I'll give you guys my thoughts on that. But yeah, this is a historychannel.com article. Step into the Vatican secret archives. The archives' treasure are the stuff of legend, but their existence is absolutely real. Oh my god, I love the way History Channel, like, you guys know the common tropes and you guys know like the all that sort of you know how the History Channel is, like ancient aliens at 3 a.m. in the morning, but then like somehow they start talking about like ancient aliens and the Nazis in World War II, and like Hitler was contacting the aliens or something like that. History Channel is wild, so I love the way they frame things sometimes. Anyways, okay, let's get into the article. 53 miles of shelving, 35,000 volumes of catalog, 12 centuries worth of documents. Yeah, that is so wild, because if you guys have ever been to Rome or if you guys been to Vatican City, 53 miles of shelving under the ground, under the Vatican, is absurd. The Vatican's not that big, dude. The Vatican is not that big. Like, it's big, but it's not that big. Oh my, and Rome is not that big for that matter. But anyways, housed in one of the most iconic bastions of religion and culture ever, the Vatican's secret archives are the stuff of historical legend, but their existence is absolutely real. Just the name invokes the mystery and pageantry of the Catholic Church and prompts the more imaginative to come up with the sinister theories about what may lie within. So yeah, that's 100%, like, dude, because the Vatican secret archives are closed off to the general public and only like a select few ever have been able to access this. Oh my god, conspiracy theories are rampant and I love them. The archive indexes are not public and only accessible to scholars once they are 75 years old. That's such a weird gatekeeping way to do it. And they're housed in a fortress like part of the Vatican. The secretive nature of the Catholic Church and the potential trove within have fueled years of wild speculation about what was inside. Even today, conspiracy theories abound over its content. I love it. Like wacky speculation that the Vatican is hiding extraterrestrial beings inside. That's a good one. We've done that bit before. We've done that bit on stream where we've talked about the aliens inside the Vatican archives, where we watched some videos. So good. In reality, however, the Vatican's secret archives are not actually secret. The word secret comes from a misunderstanding of the Latin word secretum. Secretum. I'm trying my best to do the Latin. Or private. The archives were and still are designed to house the Holy See's official paperwork. The Holy See is just speaking about the Holy See, if you guys don't know, is just like the head of the Vatican City. So like the Pope. The Pope. Is this the Pope? Official paperwork along with the correspondence and other informations related to the Pope. Yeah, there you go. They also contain some of the Catholic Church's most impressive treasures, documents that date back from the 8th century. My God. But until 1881, not even scholars of Christianity were permitted to access the archive. That's when Pope Leo the 13th, known as an intellectual who confronted the modernization of the late 19th century, opened the troves to researchers. These fascinating documents tell not just the story of the church, but the rest of the world. And so I think, if I'm being honest with you guys, where was it? About the 8th century. Anyways, when it says 8th century, I'm pretty sure they have some stuff in there from before that, because like when you go to the Vatican and you go through like the Vatican tour bits and all that kind of stuff, they have artifacts that date back to like the early Christian period, like very early AD. We're talking like they have stuff out on display in like glass cases from like, you know, 3rd, 4th, 5th century AD. So, you know, and that's on display. That's not what's in the archive too. So I think 8th century is maybe like not necessarily a misnomer, but anyways. One standout item is a letter from Mary, Queen of Scots, who was executed after being forced to abdicate her throne, serving nearly 20 years in custody. She was finally sentenced to death for conspiring to murder Queen Elizabeth I, her Protestant cousin. Facing beheading, she wrote a desperate letter to Pope Sixtus V, begging for her life and slamming the heretics who would eventually kill her. The Pope did not intervene, and she was, Jesus, that's dark. And she was beheaded on February the 8th, 1587. Dude, I mean, there is some insane pieces of history in the Vatican archives, like absurdly crazy pieces of history. Another priceless document literally changed the history of religion. It documents the Catholic Church's excommunication of Martin Luther, the German who inflamed Europe by turning his back on Catholicism and writing the 95 Theses. Now seen as a document that sparked the Protestantism. In response, Pope Leo X wrote Decit Romanum Pontif... Oh God, my Latin is so bad. Decet Romanum Pontificem, or is it Pontificem? It might be Pontificem. But anyways, a papal bull that kicked Luther out of the Catholic Church. This freed Luther to start a church of his own. Oh, Lutheranism. That's what Jesus. And the schism has defined much of the world history since. God. The document of excommunication of Martin Luther and exhibition of the... oh my God. The secret archives also hold an extremely secretive document, the minutes of the trials against the Knights Templar, known as the Chinon Parchment. It's the size of the dining room table, and its documents the trials the Roman Catholic military order for things like blasphemous behavior and heresy during the Crusades. I love stuff about the Knights Templar. I don't know very much stuff, and we've explored bits and pieces on the stream before, but I love stuff about the Knights Templar. I think that's such a fascinating period that I would love to know more about. Thanks to an archival mistake, the parchment was lost for centuries and was only found in a box containing other documents in 2001. Now it's been correctly categorized and is available for researchers. When the Chinon Parchment was made public in 2007, it effectively rehabilitated the legacy of the Knights Templars by proving that, unbeknownst to history, Pope Clement V actually absolved the group of heresy in 1308. That's crazy, dude. And this is 231 dispositions on 60 mets of the parchment, a part of the exhibition of documents from the Vatican secret archives. Man, that's so absurd. See, this is a good article because I didn't even know some of this stuff was in there, dude. These and other historical documents are stored near the Vatican Library in Rome. Like any archive, there are stacks and reading rooms. There's also a bunker, a fireproof underground structure designed to protect fragile documents from the elements of fire. There's even a school for clergy who study history. And because it's the Vatican, there's plenty of sacred art to peruse, excuse me. Not anyone can access the archives. It's only open to scholars who undergo a thorough vetting process. Huh. You guys think I should do this? Actually, I couldn't, because as soon as the Vatican, like whoever does the vetting process at the Vatican, whoever does this would just like look me up, find this stream, and they'd be like, fuck no, dude. What the hell? They'd be like, get this guy out of here. What a fucking quack. Anyways, however, in recent years, the Vatican has become a bit more open with its secrets. Bullshit. In 2010, in response to increased public interest in the secret archives and myths perpetuated by Dan Brown's best-selling book, Angels and Demons, the Vatican allowed journalists to tour it for the first time. In 2012, the Vatican Secret Archives put on an exhibition of some of its most important documents, celebrating its 400th birthday. And in 2019, Pope Francis announced that the Vatican will open its archive. What? On Pius XII, during an event commemorating the 80th anniversary of Pius XII's election to the papacy, Francis said he had given orders for the archive to be open in March 2020. What a fucking time. God, is that weird to anybody else? Is that weird to anybody else, or am I tripping? What the hell? Pope Francis said he had given orders to the archive to be opened in March 2020. Yeah. I bet you conveniently it was also March 13th, 2020. We're not going to like get into the fucking, pandemic conspiracy, but that's a very odd specific time. The church is not afraid of history, he told the group. The archives were opened in March 2nd, 2020, but then closed shortly after. Yeah, because of a little bit of, little bit of pandemic action there, dude. Oh my God, that is trippy. In 2005, Sergio Pagano, the prefect of the secret archives, revealed why there is such a reluctance to open up all the archives. Pagano told... what is this? Is this a magazine or a newspaper in Rome or something like that? L'Espresso. That's such a fucking Italian name for like whatever this is, a magazine or some kind of news agency or newspaper. L'Espresso. That it's not a matter of courage, it's a matter of resources. Since the archive is so vast, Pagano said it's a challenge to quickly process documents and make them available. Convenient excuse. But often, he said, people clamor for the opening of the Vatican archives, almost as though to enter into a secret fortress by overcoming imaginary resistance. I mean, Like he says that the prefect of the secret archive, Sergio Pagano, he says that, but that's like basically what it's been, bro. What do you have to, what did it say at the beginning of the article? You have to be like 75 years old and like go through an extreme vetting process through the clergy to be able to get access to it. Like, yeah, I don't think there's imaginary resistance, but sure. But when the door is open and the documents are available, those who seem to be at the gates don't show up or make almost a touristic visit. The prefect dismissed pressure to release the documents about Pius XII, calling it a strange phenomenon and implying that researchers were driven by a desire to take down the Catholic Church. Which brings us to what could be the most controversial documents in the secret archives, one that relate to an ongoing sexual abuse scandal within the church. As it turns out, every diocese has secret archives too, and many have helped collaborate the church's participation in the abuse. But the documents of the Vatican's secret archives are only released once they're at least 75 years old, and the archive's true owner is not the church, but the Pope. Yeah, this bit is probably the most damning bit of evidence. But that's a little bit less conspiracy and a little bit more reality. Though the people can sue individual dioceses for their information, the church itself is equivalent to a sovereign nation and can do whatever it pleases. Yeah. The Pope is the only one who could release documents early. As it looks now, it could be decades before journalists, historians, and victims learn more about the Catholic Church's role in the abuse. And even then, even when these documents, again, a little less conspiracy, a little bit more reality, even when these documents come out like at the 75-year age, so probably when most of us are long gone, they're not going to come out in full, of course. That would be silly to think. Oh, that's the article. Anyways, all right, and now you guys can see me. So this bit is even better. This one is the really good conspiracy. If you guys are into Vatican archive conspiracies, like this is the fucking schmacker. So secret time machine hidden in the Vatican helps a priest go back in time to observe the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And there's a lot more to the story than just that. This is talking about the Chronovisor. So the idea that time travel has been fantasized about by many science fiction writers and other historians who endorse the possibility of time travel. Despite a large number of stories about time travel experiments, there's one that stands out due to the large attention it has received. It's important to understand that I do not. Okay, yeah, we got it. There we go. Peter Krasa, a historian, had written a book explaining some of the mystery behind the Chronovisor and its creation, entitled Father Ernetti's Chronovisor, the creation and disappearance of the world's first time machine. This invention has been allegedly developed in the 1950s by Father Pellegrino Ernetti, a Benedictine monk, and 12 scientists, including renowned physicist Enrico Fermi and Werner von Braun, a pioneer in the development of flight rockets. Also, by the way, just so we're clear, Werner von Braun, a very, very highly regarded Nazi in the Second World War that the U.S. took over to the U.S. The U.S. forces took over to the U.S. as part of Operation Paperclip to work on the rocket program to send the U.S. to the moon. Yeah, high-ranking Nazi. Anyways, Father Ernetti told the world about the Chronovisor, and he asserted that using the Chronovisor as his eyes and ears, and this is the bit that's wild, he had watched Christ dying on the cross and attended a performance of a now lost tragedy, Thyestes, by the father of Latin poetry, Quintinus Ennius in Rome in 169 BC. What is interesting is that his story at the time got a lot of attention, even making it onto the front page of one of the most prolific Italian newspapers, La Domenica del Corriere, Courier Sunday. Jesus, God. Italian shit is so fancy for no reason. With the title, Invented a Machine That Photographs the Past. Yeah, and this what you see right here was said to be like, what's like the modern day analogy, like a screenshot from the Chronovisor or something like that. Like that's what this was supposed to be, a screenshot of Jesus like during the crucifixion from the Chronovisor. The photo presented in the newspaper is allegedly the photo of Jesus Christ during the crucifixion. Father Ernetti also mentioned in his statement that he had witnessed the Last Supper and took a photograph which he kept for himself as a souvenir. That's crazy. Many have criticized the photo as a cheap reproduction of a painting of Jesus Christ during the biblical moment of his crucifixion. Another magazine revealed that Christ was a reverse image of a postcard from Santuario del Amor. not gonna try that one. In the town of Colivens, not gonna try that one either. Jesus Christ, I'm Italian, and my lack of like Italian linguistic ability is showing. Yeah, so they a newspaper sort of revealed that this was a painting of Christ, like flipped and reversed, and turned like black and white, basically. And so it was all bullshit, according to them. Initially, people thought that this was just a crazy monk trying to capture the attention of the world, but the story gained some credibility in 1988. Really? When the Vatican decreed that anyone using an instrument of such characteristics would be excommunicated. I never heard this part of the story. What? I never heard that. Before his death in 1994, Arnetti wrote an open letter stating that once again the device is real and is being kept in the Vatican's, say, archive. He also claimed that the Pope Pius XII had forbidden all the monks to disclose information about the machine because it could be very dangerous in the wrong hands. Many historians specializing in biblical era have debunked many of the claims that have been made by Father Arnetti in the last statement. However, one thing that was not understood and mentioned by Crassa in his book is why so many popes have given attention to the story. None of the popes had tried to set the record straight by saying that the time machine does not exist. Yeah, okay. Okay. I see the point. Over the years, many newspaper and well-known publications have spoken about Arnetti's statement only presenting the information. There are many fanatics on the internet who are trying to make up some nonsense about the whole story and give credibility to the existence of the time machine, while many believe that time travel is impossible. NASA had created a simple article that perfectly described that time travel is possible, but not without the use of a time machine. What? Yeah. Oh, what? No kidding. This goes forward to support the idea that Father Arnetti was trying to capture attention. At the end of the day, everyone should be their own judge, especially when it comes to such controversial topics. Yeah. And so, like, I get, like, this story, this is like one of those crazy fantastical stories, right? Like, when we're talking about fantastical stories, this is up there. This is up there. I mean, I like to believe in stuff like this simply just because I think it's so fantastical. There are more claims that we've seen before in other videos that we've sort of explored on stream that Father Arnetti said that he saw all types of shit, like besides the Last Supper, besides Jesus on the cross during the crucifixion. He also witnessed a speech by, I believe it was Cicero in ancient Rome. I think he said he saw something with Julius Caesar as well. I don't know if it was the Ides of March, which is funny because today is the Ides of March. But it was something along those lines. And, other big historical moments that he also witnessed, maybe something, a speech from Napoleon potentially as well that he experienced. And then there was a science. There's like, if you guys want to look more into this, they're out there. I'm sure you could find an article that explains the sort of alleged science from the Chronovisor and how it operates, and it's like some wild shit. Basically, like everything that happens ever gives off like a radio I can't remember if it was a radio frequency or something like that. And basically with this Chronovisor, the way they built the instrument and set it up, it was able to pick up on like all radio frequencies. They had a little tuner thing. I just look like I twisted somebody's nipples. They had like a little tuner thing where they could sort of, tune it to a certain date and time, which is wild, but which is like also a wild claim, which makes it much harder to believe that they just sort of like tuned into the Last Supper and like tuned into that part where like Jesus was on the cross and all that kind of stuff. So that's what makes it like a little bit hard to believe. But yeah, like we've talked about it a lot before. I think this is one of those things where it's like, it's not real history, but it's like conspiracy history. And although it's not disproven 100% and it's also not proven 100%, somewhere floating around in the air, we'll probably never know if this thing actually did exist or if it was, a whole crock of shit from some dude, like, from some Benedictine monk that was, just off it, basically. We'll never quite know, but like it's like sexy conspiracy history, right? Because how cool would that be in reality? How cool would it be to have like a sort of machine that you could tune to whatever period in history and look back on it? It picks up and it like presents both audio and visuals. Like that's some crazy shit. And so, there's tons and tons and tons of other Vatican conspiracies, and maybe we'll get to all those kind of things. But dude, like it's some wild shit. I mean, obviously there's a lot of detractors and obviously there's a lot of like naysayers and all that kind of stuff, but man, This is a good one. All the Vatican archives that we took to, or sorry, all the Vatican archive secrets that we just took a look at in the historychannel.com article. If you guys want to check that out, I will drop the links in the description. But then on the flip side of that, the Chronovisor story as well. This Chronovisor story is also like super, super cool. Again, we'll never know. Well, like okay. I say we'll never know, but there's a possibility that maybe one day we will know. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows with any of this stuff? As usually is common with these kind of stories, I relent to say that we shall never quite know, or we may know one day. AKA, I can't give anybody a straight answer, and that's just the way it is. But yeah, I hope you guys, if you guys are watching this live, I hope you guys enjoyed that little story about the Vatican, about the secret archives, and then also the Chronovisor. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, and you guys are watching the end of this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, baby. That's the YouTube video. Let's go.